Hey friends, what am I doing this on? Hey friends, I have had the Gogoro now, the Gogoro motorcycle, for a year and a half, roughly, just about. And it has impressed me and amazed me far beyond what I thought that I was buying. For many years I thought my postscript HP LaserJet 4 printer was the greatest thing that I've ever bought because it worked with Windows and OS2 and Linux and Next Step. I thought that was the greatest thing I ever bought. But the Gogoro has surprised me so many times as being great. Until a couple weeks ago. I was on my way to work, and suddenly the hazard lights came on. And I thought, did I accidentally push that? Did I bump that? But also I had no power. It kicked me out of go mode or drive mode for most EV, electric vehicle people call it drive mode. So what happened? I don't know. Holding the brake and pushing go would not get me back into go mode. I had to turn it off and turn it on again. Just like the British comedy, the IT crowd, the way they answer the phone. IT, have you tried turning it off and on again? All right, so that kind of surprised me. And then the next day, I think it did it at least once. The following day, I don't know, but the day after that, August 4th, was my birthday. And I went very far away for a job interview that I felt like I absolutely nailed, and all the way home. And it did not happen again. Then I thought, I'm going to go out and fill up my big water bottle. And then it happened again. By Thursday night, August 6th, I couldn't even get it to run long enough to actually go anywhere. It kept either not being able to start at all, or once you get it to say go and then run the motor on the center stand at 30 kilometers an hour or something for like 10 seconds, it would maybe jump a couple times and then go out of go mode and turn the hazard lights on for you, as if to say, you're not going anywhere with this thing. All right, so I called the Gogoro people, and they wrote down all my details. And I said, tonight's too late. How about tomorrow noon when the Unping store opens? And they said, okay. So I called, and they saw my report of everything that I said, which they verified many, many times. And then they sent a truck to pick up my bike. So I had my front door open. I was sitting there, just kind of waiting. They said, the truck will come at 12:50. The truck came at 12:58. 8 seconds. How close is that? Truck driver was a woman. She saw me and we waved, and I said, "This is the bike." And she got that hydraulic lift thing at the back of the truck down, wrestled my bike onto it, lifted it up, put it into a holder thing, and then ratcheted it down with straps and said, "You can ride in the front, but you might not have much foot room because there's tools there." I was like, okay. I got in, yeah, there was a battery charger and, some other basic tools you would expect in that kind of truck, and I put my seatbelt on. She was finishing up something, and then she got in the truck to drive it. And the first thing I thought is, she knows her stuff and knows her job well. The second thing I thought is, she is much stronger than I am. And then, the very first thing upon entering the cab was, "Oh, do you have your seatbelt on?" "Yes." Number 3, she cares. I already put my seatbelt on, just kind of out of habit, but she really wanted to check that. Then she asked me, "Can we get out of this lane in this direction?" I said, yeah, no problem. And then you turn right here, and then she's like, "Oh, so we go across this bridge, and then here, and then turn left here, and then at this road we turn right, and there's the Gogoro store." And I'm like, yes. She knows her way. She had the whole thing planned out in her head. If you have a screwed up bike, you want her to come pick it up for you, because man, she is on top of it. I almost said on the ball, but man, I don't want to use a sports metaphor in speaking. So I got there, got the bike off the truck, pushed it up. They pushed it into the store. They put the side stand down and said, "What's wrong with it?" I put the side stand back up and put it on the center stand, and then demonstrated what's wrong with this thing. Don't. Every time it did that, I would immediately release my hands like this to show that I was not screwing with anything, okay? It just did that itself. And I told them, now a couple times I was able to go into go mode, and then when I would twist the grip, it would actually go in reverse. Okay, the motor was going backwards, and it does have a reverse feature where you twist the left grip a certain way. But it wasn't like that. It was full on, full speed, just like forward, but backward. That's dangerous. Okay, so when it would ka-chunk, ka-chunk before finally switching off, I suspected that the motor was spinning the wrong way. It was trying to go in reverse. Now, the Gogoro people were very, very polite and didn't say anything negative. But what I got out of the conversation was, "You're not an engineer. Shut up. You don't know what you're talking about." They never said that. So, next day, I thought, out of the front and rear camera controller that's underneath the seat, and engineer got it out for me. And I said, "Yesterday they called me and said, I need to have a new motor. What's going on with that?" And then he said, "I was the one who called you." And I'm like, "Oh, cool, it was you." I like that guy. Anyway, he said, "We've never seen this happen before, but the motor was randomly jumping into reverse." And then I didn't say anything and thought, yeah, that's exactly what I was saying all along. But that's the way Taiwan is. No matter what kind of instinct or intuition you have, if you're not the qualified engineer or whatever, then you don't matter. But I figured it out. Okay, so they gave me a loaner bike, a Gogoro 2. Now, at the end of this video, I have some things to say about Gogoro 2. Mostly, I hated Gogoro 2 from the beginning, but after riding one for a week, there are some advantages that I would like to admit that I accept. And those are good things. Those are good things about the Gogoro 2. Here's a little bit of Gogoro history. Okay, the CEO and the founder's name is Horace Luke. And he's pretty forward thinking. All right, so they invented the Gogoro, but it's way too expensive for most people, and they weren't selling enough to justify building the Gogoro energy network of Go stations everywhere where you can switch the batteries. It just wasn't selling well enough. So they got some off-the-shelf motorcycle parts and built the Gogoro 2. Okay, here's the Gogoro 2. And you can see there's quite a bit of space under the seat. These are the batteries. Go! And a big unping. Yeah. My favorite store. It says hello. And then shows your battery levels. And then they have these ugly brake fluid reservoirs sticking up out of the plastic. I don't know whose idea that was. And then here, instead of being mounted on one side, there's a front fork with a great big agricultural bolt on it. Okay, but for this week, I'm actually pretty happy with this bike. I love the mirrors. That should be on a Farmall F12 tractor. Or maybe an old 2-cylinder John Deere. Nothing runs like a deer. And a chain drive. It has a chain. This is a constant worry if you ride a motorcycle. If you don't put effort into maintaining it all the time, it'll be costly in the end. And if you do, then you're maintaining it all the time, okay? So you're losing either way, and I don't like having a motorcycle with a chain. Gogoro 2 has a chain, Gogoro 3 has a chain. Now, Gogoro Viva, the fourth Gogoro bike, has the motor mounted inside the rear wheel. And that thing is very, very quiet. It only has one battery. It has a green license plate, which means it competes in the 50cc category, like grandpa, grandma going to the market in the morning, you know, this kind of thing. I think it really does what it's intended to do. Gogoro now has a bicycle, which cost the same as my expensive S1 motorcycle. $130,000 for a bicycle. And they have one in the store in Anping. And it's cool. It is freaking cool. Man, if I win the lotto or something, I'm going to be riding around on a Gogoro EO. EEYO. EO. It doesn't say Gogoro on it. It doesn't say EO on it. It doesn't say anything on it. It is absolutely as simple as possible. And it's light enough. You can just pick it up and throw it over your shoulder and jump onto the subway. It's cool. It's cool. Okay, so Gogoro 2, I do admit that there's more space underneath the seat. That's something that's seriously lacking with my S1. Gogoro 2 does have more space under the seat. That is good. It's probably much more comfortable for passengers, as I imagine. I haven't tested anyone this way. There are a few advantages. Now, one thing I hate about the Gogoro 2 and 3 is that decelerating, coming up to a traffic light, it still pulls on the chain because it's performing brake regeneration, which means it's using your momentum to recharge the batteries. And that, you know, is really obvious if you're near a red light, where fossil fuel petroleum motorcycles, once the CVT disengages, that coasting is very, very quiet. But the Gogoros, you can always hear them. But here's the cool part. When you're riding a Gogoro 2, you can't hear that buzzy noise as much unless you go through a tunnel or something or next to a wall. You can't really hear it that much. Instead, what you hear is this harmony, the sing, the whine of the motor, and then the buzzy nature of the chain. And that sound, as much as I would never buy a Gogoro 2, I admit that sound is pretty cool. Let's see if we can record this. that's my update for the day. I'm still very happy with my Gogoro. And even though I've been given a Gogoro2 model as a loaner bike, okay, I can accept that. And I'm pretty happy with it. The Gogoro motorcycles are available in Europe in various cities, but only for rent or hire, if you want to call it that, in Madrid, in Spain, in Paris, in France, and then in somewhere in Germany. Thinking it's Berlin, but I'm not sure about that. Anyway, the Gogoro EO, the bicycle that I totally freaked out about, is now available in Europe and North America. If you want to spend that money for a bicycle, you're going to get your money's worth and you're going to be impressed, because every single thing about Gogoro has always impressed me. And wow, I want that EO. That electric bicycle, it has the motor built into the rear wheel, just like the Vivo. You can't go wrong with this thing. Okay, take care, friends, and be safe out there.